Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back another video day. And today, the Charlotte Hornets have signed Taj Gibson to a 1-year, $3 million deal. I got to say, I'm surprised by this. I'm not surprised that the Hornets are picking up Taj Gibson. I'm more surprised that Taj Gibson isn't retiring. I thought after last season, where, the one team that consistently was bringing him in, because of history with Tibbs and Taj, that, in playing 16 games with them and him not playing that great, and to the point where one of Taj's best, supporters and Tom Thibodeau decides to cut him, and then he has to go to play with Detroit, and he plays 4 games with Detroit and didn't do much, and only 9 minutes per game. That at 39 years old, or almost 39 years old, I would think he would call it a career, to be honest. He's been in the league for 15 years. He's now 39 years old, but was almost 39 when the season was going on. But he's 39 years old, just turned 39 at the end of June, a couple weeks ago. And the last couple years have not been great years for him. I mean, this season, 20 games, 1 start. That 1 start came with New York. With New York, I'll go over what he did with the separate teams. So with New York, with the New York Knicks, he averaged 10 minutes per game in 16 games with 1 start. He shot 30% from the floor. Did not make a 3, but did make some attempts. 1 point per game, and not even 1 assist per game, a half assist per game. He did get a half a block per game, and he grabbed almost 2 rebounds per game. So let's go to Detroit. He goes to Detroit, and he plays 4 games, 10 minutes per game. He shoots 57% from the floor. He does make a 3. He didn't take many attempts, only 1 attempt per game, shot 50%. I think he only took 2 3-pointers and made 1, to be honest. I don't know that for sure though. And he averaged nearly 5 points per game. He averaged not even a half a block per game, a half assist per game, and 2.3 rebounds per game. Look, he wasn't bad with Detroit, but let's be honest, it's Detroit. And he got some decent minutes as well. So he wasn't terrible in Detroit, to be honest. He was terrible in New York, but he wasn't terrible in Detroit. But that's Detroit. I know he's going to the Charlotte Hornets now. With the Wizards in the 2022-23 season, 49 games, 2 starts, 9.8 minutes per game, with only 3.4 points per game, and not even 2 rebounds per game. So, I feel bad going over his bad years. So, with how good of a career Taj Gibson has had, I want to go over some of his good years. The 2013-14 season, he was fantastic with the Chicago Bulls. He was second place in 6th Man of the Year voting, top 20 in the most improved voting. He averaged 13 points per game. He averaged 7 rebounds per game with 1.5 blocks per game and 1 assist per game. And that was only in 22 minutes per game. The 2014-15 season with the Chicago Bulls, 10.3 points per game with 6.4 rebounds per game. With the with the Minnesota Timberwolves in the 2017-18 season, he was a starting in every single game he played. 82 games, 82 starts, was great. 33 minutes per game. He averaged 12 points per game with 7.1 rebounds per game and 1 block per game with Minnesota. That was a great year for him in Minnesota. Then you want to go to the 2018-19 season with Minnesota. 70 games, 57 starts, 24 minutes per game, 11 points per game, and 7 rebounds per game. He averaged 11 and 7, only 24 minutes per game. Season before that, he averaged 12 and 7 on 32 minutes per game. And then after those 2 seasons with Minnesota, after he leaves Minnesota, things begin rough, start to get rough for him. He was great in Minnesota. His 2 years in Minnesota, he was fantastic. But then he goes to New York, and he spends 3 seasons with the New York Knicks, then goes to the Washington Wizards like I talked about. And after the Minnesota Timberwolves, he really wasn't the same, but at the same time, he didn't get near as much as minutes as he was getting in Minnesota. He averaged, the 2 seasons with Minnesota, he averaged 32 minutes per game and 24 minutes per game. The most minutes per game he got with the New York Knicks was 20. And the simple reason with that is he was just getting older. And so, unfortunately, Taj Gibson, after his time with the Minnesota Timberwolves after the 2018-19 season, really just started to play less time. And the 2018-19 season was really the last time we saw the best of Taj Gibson. And I honestly was hoping he'd call it a career because I think Taj Gibson could actually be a really solid coach. Look, I don't really see him being... Look, I'm not saying it's not possible, but I don't really see him being on TV. It's possible, like on NBA TV or ESPN or TNT, whatever, Turner, one of those channels. But at the same time, I think Taj Gibson could become a very good head coach, or not a good head coach, just a good coach. Maybe eventually he could become a head coach, but an assistant. I think he could be a good assistant coach, be good on someone's staff. Look, if maybe after this season, let's just say Tom Thibodeau is still the head coach for the New York Knicks. I don't see a way where he wouldn't be the head coach of the Knicks anymore. But after this season, let's say he calls it a career because he's going to be turning 40 years old. I think it'd be I wouldn't be surprised if after this season, after this year with the Charlotte Hornets, and he's done being a little bit of a veteran. He's right now he's more of a player coach in my opinion, because he's on. Yes, you can put him on the game, but he's like another coach on the sideline in my opinion. But I think after this season he most likely retires. And I wouldn't be surprised if he joins Tom Thibodeau's staff after next season. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a part of the New York Knicks coaching staff going into the 2025-26 season. I'm calling that right now. Let me know your thoughts on the signing for the Charlotte Hornets in the comment section, and peace out.